Hello, everyone. Today is Monday, October 16th, and this is a different and new way of doing my newsletter. So I was out this morning on my walk, about to hop into the ocean and do my cold water dip, when it occurred to me that I might want to consider doing my newsletters a bit differently. And fear not, if you like the format as is, I am not necessarily committed to doing video newsletters instead, but I just wanted to see how it lands with people. And here's why. So much is lost in just text only communication, right? You can't see intonation. You can't hear intonation. You can't see facial expressions. You can't see hand gestures. And I thought, especially for today's topic, which is really about lighting a fire under your butt to support you in getting to create that change that you've been wanting to create, I didn't want any of the passion or the fire to be lost simply in text communication. So I'm trying this out, and I'd love to hear what you think about it and if this format is something you're interested in seeing more of. I'm also a writer and I love writing. But I also know that this kind of communication can also be really impactful as well. One of the things that I do with all my clients is use a tool called Voxer, and it is basically like a walkie-talkie for adults. And being able to hear my clients' voices and them being able to hear mine is such a different experience than just texting or just emailing. So I wanted to bring some of that flavor to this newsletter. And also, if we're not connected on social media, you might have no idea what I look like. And so I just wanted to provide another way to connect and really get to know each other. So, as you may have seen in the subject of today's newsletter, the subject title is, "What are you waiting for?" And when I was talking about this newsletter on my social media channel today, I was talking about it in terms of, what does it take to create that motivation? What does it take to go from wanting to change and thinking about change and worrying about change and maybe coming from a place of fear to actually getting into action with it? And that is what I wanted to talk about today. So I know that when it comes to change is heavy, change is loaded. There are a lot of reasons that people don't like change, and I get it, right? Even if it's not working for us, even if it's not in service to us, we take a lot of comfort in the known and in patterns and in habits that are already established. And again, they might not be working for us, but we know them. And they're expected, and it's a lot easier to keep doing what you've been doing instead of venturing out and trying something new. So I think when we think about change, there are some things that people really get stuck on. And I wanted to address some of them here because they might be relevant to you now or maybe in the future, right? Because there's always going to be, change is constant in our lives. And if you're anything like me, there are always going to be things that pop up that you might want to do a little bit differently, or you want to change because you want to have a different experience, whether it's getting sober, whether it's creating new sleep patterns because you lack energy and just kind of feel blah all day. So, you'd benefit from more sleep, but you still just can't manage to get there. Maybe it's quitting smoking. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's changing the foods that you're putting into your body because what you're eating doesn't actually work that well for you. Maybe it's moving your body more. Maybe it's leaving that job that is killing you on the inside. Maybe it's having that conversation with your loved one about boundaries. Maybe it's leaving a toxic relationship. Whatever it is, I want to really speak to, some factors that I hope will help you in navigating these situations and actually taking action on it, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is time. And if you've been here a while, you know that I have some things to say about time. It's very easy to kick the can down the road because we are uncomfortable with the thought of, creating change in any of the scenarios that I just spoke to, right? So we kick the can down the road. There isn't necessarily urgency. We can do it later. There's something else, in drinking, for example, or giving up drinking. There's always a thing, right? There's always a thing that's coming up that's like a drinking holiday or a reason for drinking or a reason why you can't quit drinking. And here's the thing about time. One, there's never going to be a perfect time to quit drinking, to have that uncomfortable conversation, to set that boundary, to leave that toxic relationship, whatever it is. There's never going to be a perfect time when your calendar is just going to magically open up and everything's going to be easy for you. It's just not a thing, right? So the only time that we actually have that's guaranteed is the moment that we're in. And so the only time to do the thing is now, truly. And I think one of the things that in my own life, I'm really committed to is just reducing my own suffering. And I find that when we are in a place where we constantly have that thing on our minds, we create a lot of suffering for ourselves. And in constantly kicking the can down the road on that thing that you want to change, you are increasing your own suffering and your own mental anguish because you keep thinking about it and you keep feeling overwhelmed about it and you keep worrying about it. And one of the best ways to combat that worry and that fear is to act in the moment and to be present with it, because we literally, all we have is right now anyway. There is no guarantee. There's no guarantee for tomorrow. There's no guarantee for next month. So what do we need to do? What can we do with the time that we have now to really maximize on our experiences, right? And I know sometimes, we also think things like the timing is just not great and whatever, but time bends to our priorities, right? So for example, if you have a child and you get a call from your child's school and your child has been injured, you don't spend a lot of time thinking about or planning on whether or not you're going to go to your kid's school because your kid has been injured. You go to your kid's school because your kid has been injured, because your child and your child's well-being is a priority for you, right? So your time in that moment, yeah, you're at your job, but time bends to your priorities. And in that moment, your priority is your kid. And so I know that feels maybe like an extreme example, but we all get to choose how we spend our time. And we all get to choose how we prioritize our time. And so if you're wanting change in your life, if you're wanting to have a different experience and to create something new for yourself, you got to prioritize it and you have to treat it like it's important, because it is, right? Another piece that really holds people back when they're thinking about making change is feeling like they're not ready. And I've been saying it for years, and I'm going to offer it here with more pizzazz than what you can get in a text format. Readiness is not a requirement for change, ever. And again, kind of like the timepiece, you're not going to magically arrive at a place where you feel 100% ready to have that boundaries conversation, to leave that toxic relationship or job, to go out on a limb and start your own business, to quit drinking, to whatever, start your new movement routine, to change how you're eating. There's never going to be a time when you're feeling 100% ready. And I really want to dispel the myth that readiness is a requirement for change, because it isn't. The single most important aspect that is vital for change is willingness. Willingness, not readiness, is the thing that is going to hoist you forward in creating change, the change that you're seeking. And what's interesting about willingness is willingness, a willingness to try, a willingness to step outside your comfort zone, a willingness to do things a little bit differently. That is also directly connected to your confidence, right? So as long as you don't attach too heavily to the outcome, trying and being willing to show up and do the thing is the thing that's going to build not only your confidence, but your competence in whatever area that is. And when you build your confidence, you then feel better about doing more of it. And when you build your competence because you have learned something along the way, that also then cycles back to support you in feeling more confident, which then makes you want to do it more. So if you are worried about the outcome of the thing, it not going perfectly, you not doing, well at it, you not succeeding, whatever that means, I really want to invite you to think about, what if you reframe your agenda or your goal around trying? What if the whole goal is that you try and you are willing to show up and do the thing, even if it doesn't look good, even if it's not perfect, even if you don't get the outcome that you're looking for, but you tried and you learned something along the way and you built your confidence in the process, right? So let's ditch the idea that readiness is a requirement, because it's not. It's willingness, the willingness to show up, the willingness to try, the willingness to do something a little bit differently and get a little uncomfortable in the process. I also kind of want to piggyback on something that I just said. We often get worried about the outcome, worried about failure, worried about how uncomfortable the change will be. And again, I often speak about sobriety because that's what I specialize in my coaching practice. But this can be applied across the board to lots of changes, lots of different types of changes. So, we worry that we are going to fail. What happens if we drink again? What happens if we have cravings and urges? What if I'm not good at it? What if I don't fit in with my friends anymore? What if I don't socialize in the same way? What if I don't know how to have fun? We get so hung up on the potential of everything going wrong that we forget to consider the possibility that things could go very, very right. And I just want to invite you into the possibility of, what if things could go way better than you ever could have imagined? What if you get everything that you're looking for on the other side of that hump that you have to get over, the doing things differently, the trying something new? What if it turns out way better than you ever could have imagined, but you didn't try because you were afraid of the other stuff? And the thing about worrying about the future is unknown, right? It hasn't happened yet. It's not real yet. But, we put a lot of emphasis into the negative of things going wrong, not feeling good, being uncomfortable. But we have so much say over how things go. And we have so much say around writing our own stories and creating our own experiences. So I really want to invite you into that possibility of, what if it could go better than I ever could have imagined? And what if I can create the exact experience that I want in the future moving forward? Because you can absolutely do that in your life, in your present, in your future. And sometimes our minds get in the way of that. And so we really don't even give ourselves the opportunity to try, because we get so bogged down in the fear and the what ifs and all the negatives. And the truth of the matter is, chances are you're also not feeling so great in the current patterns and habits that you're in, right? Chances are it doesn't feel that great to be stuck where you're stuck. You know that you want the change, you know that you want the different experience, but fear is holding you back, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of all of the other things. And that's not a great place to be in. But here's the difference in those two experiences of discomfort, right? So staying where you are and being uncomfortable in that is only moving in one direction, right? It's likely only going to keep getting worse. You're going to get more of what you're currently getting. And the more you stay in the patterns and the habits that you're in, the harder it will be to change it later, and the more ingrained they will become, right? Whereas if you're choosing to step into the discomfort of the unknown and the discomfort of change, yes, it's also uncomfortable, but you're moving towards better, right? You're moving towards a better experience for yourself, a better version of yourself. And like I just said, you're building your confidence along the way, you're building your capacity, you're learning new things, you're growing, you're changing. So you're uncomfortable in service of your betterment. And I don't know about you, but I will always choose that discomfort instead of the discomfort of staying stuck or the discomfort of regret for not trying, right? So I guess at the end of the day, as cliche as it sounds, you get to choose your hard, right? You get to choose the discomfort. Do you want to stay stuck in the discomfort of the known but miserable? Or do you want to choose the unknown discomfort, the unknown change that also might be putting you on the path to the most profound changes and magical experiences that you could ever dream of, because that's what's on the table, right? Yeah, so I'm not I might just leave it at that, because I don't want to overwhelm you, and I feel like I've been going on for a few minutes now, but I think the takeaway really, I hope, is that you can create a different experience. You can choose differently. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. And yes, there will be an adjustment, but you are also so much more capable than you are giving yourself credit for. And you can create the change that you want. You can create the change that you are desiring. And now is the time to do it. The fact that you have that feeling in your gut that tells you that you want something different, you want something new, that is your sign, right? That is your intuition saying, let's do this, let's change something. So don't ignore it. Seize the moment, seize the pull, seize the signal that you are getting to create the change that you're looking for, because now is the time. Now, not next week, not next month, not in a year, now, because none of that is guaranteed. None of that is guaranteed. And one of the things that has really shifted for me over the years, and whether that's like losing my dad or like other family members, or getting sober, or recently uprooting my life and relocating to an entirely different province that I'd never been to because I knew I needed to change something. I just am so deeply committed to like maximizing the experience that I'm having as a human on this planet. And I don't want to sleep on it. I don't want to spend my days tuned out, checked out, watered down, numbed out. Like, I don't want that. I want to experience all of it. And my guess is you probably have that same appetite for life as well. And so if you are feeling the pull to create that change, now is the time. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if it feels uncomfortable, because you're probably uncomfortable right now anyway. So choose a different discomfort, choose a different path, and create a different experience for yourself, because this is your life, right? This is it. This is all you get. And so why not show up for yourself powerfully and show up for the life that you want to be living? Because you are worth it. Your life is worth it. The effort is worth it. And you absolutely can. And I believe in you wholeheartedly. So now I'm going to leave it. One other thing. just on the path of change and all of it, and really seizing the moment. My group coaching program starts today. I have extended the early bird pricing. Payment plans are available. If you've been thinking about joining this program and you've been on the fence for any of the reasons that we've already talked about, right? It's not the right time. I don't want to invest in myself. I'm worried I might not get it right or do it well. What if I drink again? All of the stuff. Put that to the side and ask yourself, is this something that I think would actually benefit me? Is this going to support me in moving closer to the life that I want to be living? And if you answered yes to those, you're invited. So doors to this program close on Sunday. And so now is the chance. Now is your time. So I'd love to have you join us. And there's a link below if you are interested in joining this round of the program. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching this. I hope it felt helpful. I hope it felt like it lit a little bit of a fire underneath you to get going on that thing that you've been putting off. And also, we've all been there, right? We've all been there. We've all like kicked the can down the road on creating change, and today's a great day to do it differently. So let me know what you think of this format. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing this every other week, but I just wanted to throw it in as an alternative to see how it lands for people, and y'all can let me know. Thank you for watching and being here. I'm so grateful for this community, truly. And I will see you next time. Bye.